I do. I mean, I honestly think that the Asian collector gets a bad rep, or the young collector, because I don't think that's always true. I mean, people, all types of people sell work. It's not just based off of a young collector or an Asian collector. It almost seems like that's just a narrative. And maybe there's a lot more education that's needed, and it's easy to just point the finger. It must be the young Asian collector that's doing this. But I think, I mean, I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true at all. And I want to demystify that. And, I think a lot of people are interested in Asian market because there is a lot of wealth coming from this region, and there are a lot of young collectors. But with any other market, I think it's important for artists or galleries to understand that market and not just say, oh, if I'm doing this successfully over here, that means I'm just going to bring it to Asia and it's just going to do just as right. And I could just sell to whoever, and then they could just, hold on to it for me. I don't think it works like that. And so with the world being so transient, it's easy to point the finger, but, I would say, communication and dialogue is most important. And, it's easy just to point the finger. And I don't think that could be always true.
I think there's some, if we're talking about young art buyers, art collectors, there are some who will put in the work to really get to know the artists and their practice and talk to galleries and visit the galleries. But naturally, there'll be other types of young collectors or friends of this main collector who may just sort of follow. They'll put in some effort, but they're like, oh, okay, this person bought, so this artist must be good. A bit of that follower, right? Follower vibe. But I've also come across instances where, and I think this is quite promising, where young aspiring art collectors are looking for mentorship from the older, more experienced art collectors. And this is not from me, but I've seen it because people come to my dad and they say, Mr. Chong, can I have coffee with you? Can you share your experiences? Not every purchase or acquisition is a winner, and it isn't, honestly. How do you go about it? And he's very happy to talk to them for an hour and a half and just tell them the truth, which is when he started, there was no internet. So you had to go with your gut. You had to go with your eye and your heart and say, this is what I like. It's something that I can afford. I'm going to make sure that I can afford it. I'll save up some money and I will go for it. Whereas today, understandably, I think we're saturated with too much information. It is overwhelming. It's like visually, Instagram, Facebook, and then you have like all these websites with so many articles, so many reviews. It's very hard to what's the word, digest and then sort of make sense of it. So perhaps, and this is where actually I think the galleries play a very important role, at least in Asia, because they are the ones who can educate that end user, end buyer, to tell them, explain to them. And I think the notion of art advisors is still quite nascent here. I know there are many art advisors in Asia. It's a gap. And I would say if you're gonna listen to an advisor, do your duty as well. Yeah.
Someone should write a book and just say, what not to do or what to do when collecting, because I mean, it seems like a lot of people are curious about the rules, and for me, I feel like the rules keep on changing. What's accepted and not accepted. So I think it could be a good thing for someone to write a book about it.
You should do it, Kevin.
I'm not.
Do a small one. Do a small one.
Maybe your dad should, and we'll all buy it.
I'll buy it.
Oh, good idea.
Okay, so I think we're coming towards the end of the panel, and I have one last question for everyone on the panel. What kind of, this is a bit of an esoteric, intangible question, a bit of a departure from our previous discussions. What kind of future do you envision for your art collection in the next 10 to 50 years? So Koji, you want to talk
50 years.
about this?
You said
10, 10.
you said
Okay,
the
10
next 10 to 50 years?
Yeah, I was like,
Wow.
Why not? Why not?
Why not?
Why
Why
not?
not?
Yeah, why not?
No, okay. I don't have any clear answers to that. But the few things I have in mind when I collect. Of course, the pieces I like, then I acquire. But sometimes some pieces I do not quite comprehend. That's kind of important for me. Of course, if the pieces found that the what I don't like, then I don't buy. But some pieces which I do not quite comprehend, it's kind of a puzzle. It's a myth. Then it's very curious to me. And sometimes I said, that should be the one I should keep in my house so that I can see it, every day. And, it may in few months, few years, you're going to say, this piece is good. So that is kind of a one, Kevin, it's one of the rules I have. As far as I'm concerned, that rule will not change. That's my answer.
And Kevin, you want to go next?
Yeah, I mean, I never really think about, hey, if I buy this, like, what's it gonna be like next 50 years? Like I can barely think about what I'm doing tomorrow. So I don't really, when I buy something, I don't really think about that in mind, but hopefully, I can pass it off to my son, and he doesn't think it's about, 50 years. So hopefully, he might keep it in storage or something, or, I don't know. I haven't really thought about that, but I do think that art is a journey, and the most important thing for me is to evict happiness. I think art's supposed to make people happy. I think overthinking it, overanalyzing it takes the fun out of it, and just go with your feeling, So that's what I would like to conclude with. And thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. Jay?
Yeah, 10 to 50 years. It's a long way. So I never thought about 50 years later, but hopefully, like Kevin said, I have a daughter, only 1 year old. So hopefully she enjoys art too. And I share my collection with my friends and family, but hopefully I can share a bit more to the public, not like 100% open, but some part of my collection with more people so that I can, so I can do a little more support to the public.
J Foundation, we're visiting J Foundation.
You guys all welcome.
And Ning, how about you?
so immediately what comes to mind is storage. If I'm gonna keep buying art, I need storage. Like the real, can I say it's a real pain?
Same headache here.
It's so real.
Oh
It's
my
so
God.
real, you guys, right? I'm like, how am I gonna keep all my art? Like, But hopefully they'll still be intact. As it is, I'm also having to deal with my dad's collection and legacy. I mean, it's an ongoing live conversation. He doesn't want to address it, but I make him because it's so real. I have 3 young kids, so hopefully they will take some work on my collection eventually. And I just wanted to end off with, who knows, it may all manifest on the metaverse,
Oh yeah.
right? Why
I
did you-
actually wanted to.
No,
I
no,
actually
don't
wanted to
us.
ask you
Don't
guys.
us
Don't
about
ask.
it.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Another time.
Cannot. Another panel discussion.
Panel.
So it's been a very fun and insightful dialogue today. As we wrap up, I just want to thank everyone for joining us today. Special thanks to Art Fair Tokyo once again for organizing this panel, and also to all of you wonderful panelists for joining us from Korea, Singapore, Hong Kong, and Japan. and bringing us such a lively discussion today. Thank you so much for your time. See you,
thank you very
everyone.
much. And
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I would like to visit this guy in Seoul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys should
You guys are
definitely connect with
welcome.
each other.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
Let's talk about
Oh,
that. So
wow.
next time.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
that's
can
his
see that.
Okay, okay.
Wow.
Part two of the conversation.
Wow, thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thank
you guys are all
you.
welcome.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Wait, how did you just show that to us now? You got to give us like at least 5
Next time.
Yeah, we will have a special tour with him for another session.
Yeah,
Great.
definitely.
behind you. Who's the work behind you?
Hmm?
Who's the work behind you?
Oh, it's work by Mark Dew. Yeah, and it's was about to end, but yeah, it's my storage, and there's another floor for new artworks upstairs. Yeah,
I need
Fantastic.
that cabinet looks very serious.
Okay,
Yeah.
he's set for storage. He's done.
yeah.
Awesome.
Cool.
It
Thank
was
you so
fun to talk to you all.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you
See
all.
you soon.
Reena, thank you very much. Bye bye.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye bye.